Does recovery work? Well, let's talk about that today as we hear a testimony of recovery. Welcome back to HC Men's Global. This is the Recovery Talk. My name is Daniel, and I am honored to be the Celebrate Recovery leader at Home Church Red Deer and be your host for Recovery Talk presented by HC Men's Global. So glad you are here. If you've missed the previous weeks, go back and check them out. They are available. But we've talked about what is recovery, what is hurts, hangups, habits, what is denial, and how does it slow us down from healing and moving forward. And so today we get to hear a story of a life changed from recovery. It's not mine, it's somebody else's, because recovery does work. And so here is a story from my brother, Derek. This is a great guy. He's a personal friend of mine. He's one of our leaders at Celebrate Recovery. He is just a lover of Jesus, serving in the house, and just committed to his process of healing and wholeness through Jesus Christ and through working 12 steps through Celebrate Recovery. And so it's just going to be a quick moment here. Let's take a few minutes and listen to what Derek has to say about his journey in recovery.
Hello, my name is Derek, and I'm a grateful believer of Jesus Christ, and I'm working through anxiety. My story begins December 14th, 1983, with loving parents and two older brothers. Growing up in a Christ-centered home, there was a lot of room for love and hearing the gospel. I got saved at age 6, accepted Jesus Christ. My parents were raising 3 boys. So with that, a lot of strength on my mom, with being in a household of guys. There was a lot of room for wrestling and fighting. Even though there was a lot of that, we still were a very close family. Speaking of wrestling, my story is about someone who had fought for his life. I was born with a heart murmur and also with unfully developed brain that caused dyslexia, slow learning difficulties, and growing up. Having a constant ear problem that would cause me being close to being deaf. And also with difficulties with speech, where the doctors have told my parents I would probably never would speak. Fast forwarding to my school days, growing up in school was never easy, especially with my dad's job that made us move every 5 to 6 years. As the new kid on the block, it was easy target for me to be picked on a board. Might as well have a flashing sign saying, "Hey, come get me." And when the other students weren't picking on me, verbally abusing me, or pushing me against the lockers and putting me in trash cans, with every teacher almost knew I wasn't like my 2 older brothers who had some of them before I came. So when it came to me, there was really big shoes to fill. I remember in grade 4 gym class, there was a teacher that did not seem to like me all that much. This was a time where suitable gym gear was supposed to be worn. Unfortunately, I forgot to wear one day. So I sat down and watched my fellow students take part of gym class. To make this short, by the end of gym class, the gym teacher came and picked me up by a handful of hair and thrown me into the other side of the room. I had my head in pain and ran out. Moving on 8 years ago, my family and I have never forget the day that shook us to. As I mentioned before, I have 2 older brothers. One of my brothers' name is Grant. If you saw him in person, you would have thought he was made of stone and very fit. In the month of August, he went to Jasper with some friends, camping in the mountains. He would have thought it was a great idea to go swimming. Unfortunately, he never came out. On August 19th, 2012, after a huge search, with no luck, I remember how shook I was when I got the news, and I was the one who had to pass the news to my parents and family members. To this day, we wonder why his body is in the lake on the mountaintop in Jasper. After a few years of my brother's death, I was sitting in the pool and watching people working out like my brother did. If there was one thing you should learn about me, I grew up watching wrestling. Love watching it with my brothers, and I figured I would give it a try. Voices in my head saying, "You're stupid, you wouldn't amount to anything." Boy, were they ever wrong. This was a way of showing everyone they were wrong, that I could live my dream in the ring and train. With that being said, I close my story with a quote: "The dream is free while the journey is not." John C. Maxwell. What I would say to you in the words of encouragement: never let anyone tell you that you can't do it. You're not good enough. One thing that SEA has taught me is that I am worth it and I can do it. Thanks for letting me share.
Derek, thank you so much for sharing your story. And I want to just encourage anyone who's watching today, who is recovery for anyone, whether you have health issues, health problems that you have faced, mental health, mental illness, anxiety, fear, depression, whether you were bullied or abused as a kid, whether you have learning disabilities or not, whether there is fear, rejection, hurt, those things, all of these things, the loss of a loved one, grief, all of these things, and self-worth. Derek talked about every single one of them, and maybe you can relate. Maybe you go, yeah, me too. I just want to encourage you, keep coming back, checking out Men's Global, keep checking out these recovery talks. And if you need a Celebrate Recovery group near you, please check out celebraterecovery.com to find a group near you, even worldwide. And if there isn't one near you, there may be one online that you could join in and begin a community of growth. God bless you. We'll see you next week at the Recovery Talk. I'm Daniel. Thanks so much. If you'd like to know more about Celebrate Recovery, you can visit celebraterecovery.com. And if you'd like to hear more from Daniel, visit BibleReadAlong.com.